Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and call the October 9th, 2023 meeting of the Cambridge City Town Council to order. We're gonna start this month with a pledge. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hey Bob, Mike's gone, but he wanted to call. Are we allowed to do
He
this?
can call, yeah, he can.
But he can't vote.
You can listen. He just wants to listen.
Oops. You want me to do the roll call?
Yeah, I didn't know. You want to do that now? Okay. Clerk, if you want to go ahead and call the roll.
All right, Steve Sora.
Here.
We know Mike is absent.
Hello,
Hello.
I'm here.
Okay. All right. We'll talk loud so you can hear us.
Okay.
Debbie McGinn.
I'm right under LaGuardia's flight path, so.
Oh wow.
Here.
Okay, well we're doing the roll call right now, so we're starting. Jim McLean.
Here.
Jeff Marcus.
Here.
Okay.
And has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And the claims?
I'll make a motion to accept the claims.
Second that as well.
All in favor?
Aye.
And financial?
And I'll do the financials also.
I'll second that as well.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
First thing on the agenda is to adopt the 2024 budget. Bob, did you want to talk about that?
Well, we went through it pretty much in detail at the public hearing last month, so there was no comments at that time. Nothing has changed since that month, so if the council still feels it is appropriate to pass that budget of the $1,475,000 with the tax levy at $887.96. We remind everybody that's just a 1.7% rate increase in the tax rate, and only $38,698 total overall budget from last year, even with adding a fifth police officer and 3% raises to other people. So I think remains a good budget and would be available for your passage now if you so choose.
I'll make a motion to accept the 2024 Cambridge City budget.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Mike, I actually don't think you can vote because you can't vote via phone. You can just listen tonight.
Okay.
Yeah, that's okay. You can't vote if you're in New York, so they don't allow that.
I like it. Yeah.
And then they need to sign.
Yep.
So I have a second.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So you sign your name and yes or
Mark the
no?
I. Yeah.
Aye.
This we put on Gateway, so.
So we'll go ahead and move on to our guest this evening, Jane Carpenter, Veteran Banners.
There she is. I was about to say, she may not be here yet.
Yeah, I made it. Do I need to stand and be awkward, or can I sit and speak? Is it okay? Okay. So I'm here on behalf of the chamber in regard to the Western Wayne Heroes project we're doing with the veteran banners. Currently, we're still seeking some sponsorships for some of the veterans that we're looking to put up from the American Legion. We are looking for 5 sponsorships and or a donation of any amount, and we were curious as to if the town or city would be interested in sponsoring and or helping in any other way aside from the maintenance of, taking them up and putting them down. So that's my question. Would there be any interest in helping us fund some of these things?
And the price is?
A cost of one banner is $90. Hardware is $90. Obviously, you need the the combination of the two to hang it. So it's $180 total for one.
And how many need the help?
5. We had 6, but we have one who I think Rave Law was going to sponsor. So, and then we have a potential opening for another sponsorship from Medicenter. So it could be 4, but right now it's 5 that we're looking for. And then we also, there's a bridge there on, that's like Mulberry to, I think is it Dale? I don't know what it turns into up there. But does the town own that bridge, or is that privately owned by like the Turpins? 'Cause
That'd be this county, state.
Yeah, actually, the county maintains all the bridges, right? You're talking about,
40.
yeah, like the railing there. Was that a part of the sidewalk project when they did the poles and did they replace railing there?
are we talking about Becker's?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I know like the library displays
Yeah, the
things.
county
in it.
maintains those because they were looking to replace it,
Mhm,
and they had
that's true.
engineering done on it. I think the county maintains all the bridges. I
Okay.
don't think we own it.
Okay, because I know like the library and certain other organizations will display things there.
Right.
And to kind of, display our sponsors and things, our plan is to hang a banner there and to have like all of our sponsors, like thank you to those who have served and those who have sponsored, and helped with the project, and to put everybody's kind of logo and sponsorship on there. And I wanted to make sure before we did that was an okay thing to do.
Yeah, when did you want to do it?
We want to have the flags or the banners up by Veterans Day, hopefully, fingers crossed. Or that's the goal, if everything goes right. And so the banner would go up at the same time. And the banners are going to stay up year round this year, because that's a lot for the town to be like, put them up and then take them right back down. So they're going to stay up the entire year this year, and then the following, when they go to do, like Christmas decor and whatnot, they'll just take them down. I'll clean them, maintain them, and then they'll go back up in spring before Memorial Day.
I can inquire and see who owns the bridge. I mean,
Well, you're talking about the handrail, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All down.
State highway, probably.
oh yeah. Oh, you're talking about that
That
metal.
black railing
Yeah.
that was put in.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's probably state.
Yeah, I don't think it's ours.
Yeah, it's not
I
ours.
think I said that already.
Yeah.
So there's a banner there right now from the library, so I don't know where to gain access for permission to do that, but I want to have
A little bit.
some form of, something to show like our sponsors, because we don't want to put them on individual, banners. That's a lot to keep track of, and things get hairy, so.
So can you check the NDOT on that and see if
Yeah, let's see if I can find something on who,
yeah.
if that's
Because I'm
ours.
sure that's NDOT's rail.
Okay.
So. So does anybody have any comments about sponsoring the? How we pay for it?
I don't know.
I mean, basically, you're looking for a commitment of around $1,000.
Ish.
Yeah.
The American Legion, they sponsored for $1,000. So they're gonna do our first round of hardware, because we're gonna do like a trial round before we, go to do the whole thing on November 11th, or before November 11th. But that's also gonna be their $1,000 is for like active duty members. They'd like to sponsor those, or those who are financially in a position that maybe want to put something up and can't, and they would have to qualify with that, or for that with them. So, and obviously I'm not gonna ask the American Legion sponsorship to sponsor their own. So, we do have one $1,000 sponsorship already.
Is that something come out of downtown beautification funds?
Good. Let me see. I don't know how much is even in there.
Main Street doesn't know about this, Jim. I don't believe, so I'm sure we could get it all. It's already in it.
No, you're good.
You could.
We could at least do one, I'm sure.
So is this gonna change every year, or will they go up every year like the same one?
They'll all go up the same, it's a one-time fee.
So it's a one-time deal?
Yep, everybody will go, as long as we have the room for it.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to the Dublin meeting tomorrow to see like if we have some, you know, a whole ton of interest, that if we could maybe utilize their poles to use for their residents that, you know, would be otherwise down here, maybe move them to keep things, you know, from being bunched up and turning people away too. And then there was also the thought of, because there's a few on Delaware too, like, I don't know, 6 or 7 poles there. And I thought maybe we could put some of the active service members there if we needed to. So,
Yeah.
So you're just looking to make sure we have all the funds available, right? So that's the last $1,000 that you're needing to finish the whole project?
not the whole project, I mean, this is just for those particular members of the Legion, for those 6 that we had. That the whole project is actually, it's independently funded by the people that are requesting the banners. So like, we're not, I mean, we will pay for, if need be, for those who maybe want one that can't afford it. But if people want one up and they can't afford to pay the cost, that is the option right now. Initially, my thought was I wanted to go and find a sponsorship for all the hardware, and when numbers started coming in and then, you know, values of the cost of things kind of started to roll into, it was going to be upwards of like 20 grand. You know, if we had 200 people interested at almost $100 per hardware, it was like 20 grand. And we just realized that that was too much to, you know, try to bring in as like a donation or a sponsorship. So we left it open to be independently purchased.
I guess I'm just confused on whether you're looking for a definite $1,000 from Cambridge City, or only to cover if you don't get it from another place.
No, we definitely, I'm saying initially that was the plan, was that we were going to ask for sponsorships for all the hardware so that nobody had to buy their own hardware. But then we made it so that it was independently purchased by those who were interested in the banner. So, but because the American Legion does so much for the community, we wanted to kind of give back to them in a way, like we didn't want them to have to pay for their own banners. So we wanted to find sponsors for those 6 particularly. So we wanted to see if you would be interested in sponsoring and aiding in the cost of that. Also, you have to understand too, there is cost associated in maintaining these as well. So, I mean, if one gets damaged, I don't want to have to reach out to somebody and say, hey, the mail truck hit a pole and took it out and your flag or your banner's toast. Like, do you want to buy another one? You know, we kind of have to have a cushion as well. If in the event something happens to one, people aren't like independently going to be like, well, we just gave you $180, you know, like we can't afford to do that again. So we have to be mindful of that too. So we want to have a cushion. So yes, we're asking for sponsorships for those particular, you know, 5 people that are left, but also whatever remaining balance would be, it would be left in an account to help us maintain that as well.
So who speaks for Main Street? Do you or?
There's three board members here tonight, so so I'm sure we could commit, and if we don't commit as a group, which we can do Tuesday night, we can ask, or next Monday we can ask for a vote, but I'm sure individually 1 or 2 of us will support it. I don't know about the full amount. That's the board decision.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts, Jim?
No, I agree. I'm sure that's something they'd be willing to sponsor as well. But
Okay.
I could see the city doing 1 or 2 because if you remember, like, Legion gave us $7,000 to help.
Or maybe we could do half or something, and Main Street could do half.
well, it sounds to me like even, you know, you may need the money from both because of the maintenance and so on and so forth, so.
Yeah, I mean, just whatever you're willing, like we're gracious for whatever, you know, we're appreciative of whatever you could do to help us. And in return, obviously, for that, I mean, we're doing it for our veterans. It's not like, you know, we really need anything in return for doing it, but we are going to put our sponsors up. So there will be, you know, some form of like a thank you to our sponsors, like your logos and things will be advertised. You are associated with the program you support, you know, the project and so on and so forth.
And you're absolutely right, and Jeff's right, the Legion has really stepped up in the town to sponsor a lot. And so.
Well, if you want to split it, I can take that, or we can take the whole thing, propose it to the board. So it's up to you guys.
It's tempting.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, let's,
I mean, to me, the money, I think it fits into the beautification, so I think it's there, so.
Does somebody want to make a motion?
Motion $500 donated.
That's your motion?
Mm.
Is that a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Turn them on. We're turning you on.
I can't even say aye.
No.
You can say it, doesn't mean
You
anything.
can say it, but it doesn't mean anything. You just- we know you're there. Aye, aye, aye.
Okay.
So is that okay?
Yeah, no,
Half and
yeah,
We'll
absolutely.
come back to you on the other half.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you could just
Can't
kind
speak
of.
for them, so you'll have to deal with them.
We should be good.
Okay, perfect. If you just want to kind of like, put the word out there about the program too,
Okay.
to people that you might know that might be interested, because it's
Yeah.
such a short time frame as well. So,
That's a nice thing, so.
yeah, thank you. I think so too.
it is.
Thanks.
And Ken will check on the NDOT for the handrail.
Okay, perfect.
We're just past the library.
Yeah, see, that's them, they contacted anybody.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, they have a banner out there right now, and I almost have to ask, but I thought, I better just, since I've been to the meeting, I better just check.
yeah, they might have a name.
Okay,
Check with Susie Hall up here to this one.
okay.
That's who we go through for canal days permits for the road closures and all that stuff. She's in charge of that.
Susie Hall?
Yeah.
Okay,
Ultimately, it goes through Greenfield, but I think you can start there.
Okay, thank you.
so is that all you had?
That's all I have.
Okay, thanks for coming.
No problem. There's a-
Ben Allen, Cambridge City Main Street, Foot Street Overpass.
Okay, so I'm just here representing Main Street. The former train overpass at Foot Street. We would like to eventually maybe paint the whole thing as a mural underneath the sides and the whole 9 yards. Our original idea is to maybe incorporate it with the eclipse festivities that we're getting done. Whether or not we can get it done by then, we're not real sure, given weather and time crunch and money and all that. But we're just trying to get ducks in a row. So I have permission slips from both owners of the overpass itself, which would be Dennis Hook and the church. They each own half of it. So we've got their blessing to at least pursue funding and artists and the whole 9 yards. So next we were just looking for council's blessing. And before you ask, we would, any kind of insurance that would need to be purchased, we would work with Sarah Pennington's on our board, and she would help us get all that done.
So if it's privately owned, we don't really need, we don't
We
have.
really don't have a dog in the fight, other
Yeah.
than to the extent if they would be interfering with traffic.
Yeah, I
underneath it
mean,
for a
once we
while.
start painting, we would have to, give you dates that we would need the street shut down.
That would be your involvement.
Yeah.
But it would just be probably while active painting was happening,
Yeah.
so no overnight closures.
Right. So have you guys got an idea of what you're gonna paint on it?
If we do the eclipse, we're thinking paint the whole thing black and then do a starry sky with maybe the phases of the eclipse, like our t-shirts are. I don't know if you guys have seen the t-shirts that we've got out. If we can't get it done by the eclipse, then we're kind of back to square one on the design, but basically that's where we're at.
Back in the day, people used to paint on it, they didn't ask anybody permission.
Paint on it now
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
the paint on it now isn't exactly family friendly.
Yeah,
We were discussing actually just removing graffiti, and then it was kind of like, well, if we could
yeah,
gain a mural and cover graffiti at the same time, then why not?
yeah.
While the painting is being done, would it require the closure of the whole road? I mean, will traffic still be able to get through, or do you?
Probably not, because I don't foresee us having that much scaffolding or lifts at one time. It would probably just be a one direction type thing.
So is that part of our street or is it county?
No,
That's ours.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with it.
It's subject to the days that they actually.
Yeah, just keep us posted
Yeah,
and
yeah, of
we'll
course. We
approve the closure or whatever
Yeah.
of it. And so,
we'll move forward with trying to get funding.
all right.
Good.
Annie Hayes, pay application number 3, 90-day extension for Cooley Booster Station improvements.
Since I'm here, if council's okay, I do have 3 other things to say.
Yes, it's-
So sorry. Okay, yeah, so first thing is the pay application number 3 for the 1B project, which is the improvements at the industrial park water treatment plant and a few at the in-town water treatment plant. And so this pay application is mostly for work that was being done on the new well house number 3 out at the industrial park. And it's for the amount of $75,614.40. And so I'll just need Steve's signature.
Okay. And we don't need a motion for me to do this, or?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
Somebody want to do that? Before I put my invisible ink on it?
I wanted to see if you signed it first.
Yeah. No, I'm not signing nothing till you give the word.
I'll move to approve pay application number 3.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
The next item while you're finishing up with that is just a little update on the 1A project, which is the in-town water mains. Last time we talked, I think at last council meeting, we were holding on to pay application number 9, which is the release of retainage, the final pay application. And we're waiting on approved record drawings. And there were a few things that are missing from the record drawings. We sent Cooley a list of these things, and they're in the process of updating them. Just some of the things that we asked them to do, where one of them was locating all of the valves that they put into 3 permanent locations, so it would be easy for Ken or some of the other water guys to go out there and locate valves in the future if they get paved over or something and they aren't able to find them, they'll have that record on these drawings. And then just a few of the other things that weren't on there, the water treatment, or the wastewater treatment plant service line was still shown just to the existing meter pit, but it was installed all the way to the new meter pit, so showing that, and then showing a few other valves and inserter valves that weren't shown on there. So just getting all of those things up to date and making sure that they're as accurate as possible for you guys to use in the future. And then once those are all updated, we'll look at them again, and then once they're approved, we'll be able to release that last pay application. Do you guys have any questions about that?
The next item on the list is a cost estimate for a booster station. And council probably has no context for this, so I want to introduce it a little bit. Originally, the plan for the 1B contract was to get the existing booster station back in operation. We wanted to turn it on and make sure it could do its job. As we looked into it, we found out what its job was originally isn't what we needed to do. So that station was sized for the domestic flow of Mount Auburn however many years ago, and it was never intended to provide fire flow. So Ken and I and Cooley have been talking about what's the appropriate course of action with this booster station, because we can't just flip a switch and turn it back on because it doesn't do the things that we thought it should do. So in order to provide that solution, we looked at what would it cost to build a booster station that can provide fire flow to Mount Auburn, just so council has that information to make before you make a decision one way or the other with the existing booster station. Does that make sense? So with that, Annie has some estimates, and these are very preliminary of what that could look like if that's something you want to pursue. Certainly not a recommendation of here's what you should do. It's just if providing fire flow service to Mount Auburn is something we want to prioritize, this is what that effort would look like. Just wanted to provide that to council and give you an opportunity to look at. If you want it, certainly not looking for any type of decision. Just if we want to give fire flow to Mount Auburn, this is what we think it'll take. Not an easy endeavor.
So what about the existing hydrants that are there now?
They're there that can provide domestic flow, and what we haven't done is quantify how little fire flow they can provide. So that's something that Ken and Cooley are gonna do, is flow test the new main to see what can we get. Now, I think the answer is not gonna be attractive, right? Because replacing that pipe's not gonna increase our fire flow capacity by a significant amount. It just lets the pipe flow like it should have. So my gut says we're gonna get less than 1,000 gallons a minute out there, but honestly, I don't know. We need to flow test that to understand.
I don't think you can get near 1,000 gallons a minute.
No, I say less than that.
When you stand at Mount Auburn Court, Nuddish, you're looking right straight at the water tower.
Right.
Which we were talking with the guys from Cooley, that we knew that up there, that, yeah, no way.
It's always been a problem up there with water.
And, you know, and that's the thing, that booster station that's there does not increase that pressure to do that. And so that's why we were looking at, in the flow test, what Cooley's gonna check on is to see what kind of flow we get out of those new meters on 40. To where, like, if you got one of those houses, can you hook to it and fight the fire?
Yeah, we have to constantly be watching that we're not starting to pull a vacuum.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I see that being a similar situation, even with the new pipe, just now we don't have to deal with those breaks.
Still a pull vacuum on that pipe.
Right, no, vacuums are bad. So fast forwarding, we tried to make that existing station work, but as we just peeled back the layers, well, the pumps were too small to do domestic flow, and it wasn't even set up for fire flow. It just, we couldn't retrofit that existing location to make it do what we want it to do. So this is where it ended up, to be able to provide that flow.
So what's this thing gonna look like? I mean, I see the overhead, but was it gonna be a building? Is that-
Yeah, so it'd be like a block constructed building. You could do them prefabricated as well, but we plan just for block construction to assume the more conservative of the approaches. So it would be an upgrade booster station. We plan for, I think, 2 domestic service pumps and a fire pump that can be sized to meet whatever flow and demand that the town feels is adequate. It's a big number. And I don't know if that number matches the priorities to address those solutions. So more of an open-ended, here's some information. We don't need an answer, but if that's something you guys wanted to look into and wanted to provide fire flow, whatever that number is, to Mount Auburn, here would be a place to start.
Was the original booster station in the project originally anything to do on it?
There are some costs for the original booster station in the project. The costs that are part of the 1B contract are the programming that were to bring that station online from a communications perspective only. There's about $150,000 in that. So current direction would be pausing on that and not implementing that work, because we're not going to use that booster station in the future.
Because part of the other conversation with like Peerless and some other people to looking at that existing booster station, and it would be actually going there were things in there that was going to need to be replaced. Because since it's not ran for so long, things that in the motors that have dried up, more than likely have dried out, and I think I think there was a figure of roughly about 500,000 to even get that one up to.
That I don't recall.
I can't remember. I know it was a.
So where is it at?
Huh?
Where is it?
They're by the library. They're on High Street. It's in the ground.
So is that something that we don't regularly like go up and run, or I mean, is that possible to run it, or?
Well, it was put in years ago
I mean, if it's set up there and dried up over the years, that seems kind of weird to me, but.
They quit running it because every time we would fire it up, we would start getting leaks in Mount Auburn.
There were some issues with the original approach for that booster station. So the design of it is small for the original fire pumps, and it's a closed pressure system, meaning there's nowhere for the pressure to blow off to. I think that contributed to some of the breaks. Because normally when a pump turns on, that pressure can go somewhere. There's nothing like that in Mount Auburn. So I think that makes the situation difficult.
So how old is this thing? I mean, is it?
I think it's like 15 years old, Ken.
I don't, Michael.
Oh, I thought you were talking about something from the 1930s or something,
No.
how you described it.
No, this booster station was installed within the past 15 or 20 years.
Oh, wow.
So how long will this new one last?
Well, it's not so much, the new one didn't last long because the conditions that were planned for, right, to provide fire flow, that amount of water, and the current customers in Mount Auburn, it doesn't appear that that was part of that equation. So this isn't necessarily a function of, well, this thing's old and it's bad. It's just not the right widget for the problem at hand. So as I understand it, when the booster station was first installed and turned on, there were a lot of water main breaks. And that's anecdotal from Michael Stuckey. So back then, the decision was, do we want to deal with the water main breaks, or do we just turn the booster station off? And from as I understand it, the booster station was turned off. So how long will the new station last? You know, all the nuts and bolts have different life cycles, but generally we look at like a 50-year life cycle for the booster station on average, and that's very round numbers.
Yeah,
Question?
Sure.
This may sound simplistic and it may also sound harsh, and I apologize for sounding that, but this would be a cost to the town of Cambridge City of $1.6 million so they can put out fires in Mount Auburn. It doesn't benefit anybody.
That would be a
in
correct
Cambridge.
interpretation.
No, I know where you're going.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And so consequently, they would have to maybe pass that right along if they chose to do this to just the residents of Mount Auburn.
Right.
Would they not?
But that's how I see it.
I
as
mean,
well.
otherwise, town of Cambridge citizens are scratching their head wondering why.
Why are we doing this? Yep, that's a very, very astute observation.
That's why we have you here to be harsh.
And that's why we didn't start with, well, you just need a booster station. We tried to save the old one as much as we could, but when we looked at what we wanted it to do, you know, it's too much and too small of a space.
Right.
So like I said, certainly not something we're looking for action on, just if that's something we want to do, that's what that would look like, and there's a lot to discuss before anything could happen. So we just wanted to provide you that information.
Well, thanks.
Yeah. See, I told you, I'm not asking for money. If you want to
Reaper.
spend some, I can help you.
Yeah.
But if there are any follow-ups on that, then let us know. It's not on our radar as a project to track, but if it needs to be, we'll put it there. The next thing I wanted to add was an update on the 1B project. So that's at the industrial park. They drilled that well, the production well, and as of Friday, they did their first production test on that. That's the initial test to make sure we get the water we want. We didn't get the water we want. Our goal was to get 500 gallons a minute out of that well, and they got 150 gallons a minute out of it.
That's not out at the industrial.
Oh, that's not?
That's well 3 in town.
Okay, well, I misunderstood that.
Oh, wow, I was gonna
Never
say, I
mind.
don't know.
I'll rewind all that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ken. I'll give you an update once we have more. That's embarrassing.
Okay.
Okay.
My apologies. Next thing I have is the time extension on 1B. I think this is the right location this time. So this has been going on for a little bit now. I believe Annie's touched base with you last month on it, and we sent a follow-up email between meetings, just here to see if we're ready for a resolution on that. To recap what the situation was, Cooley asked for a 90-day time extension. And their letter states that the extension request is due to lead times on SCADA and computer equipment. The first action that Cooley took on ordering that computer equipment was 4 months after the contract was issued. And they're claiming that it's a 90-day, they need 90 days for a delay in equipment. So that's the first thing that I look at and say, well, if it took you 120 days and you need 90, That's something for council to think about. The other thing is the fact that they're saying that these lead times are prohibitive and it's what's causing the equipment delay. We just believe that to be not true. We also purchase this equipment, Wessler does, when we do our programming work, and we've been able to obtain it pretty quickly. So with that, it seems like there's something in this letter that's not being said. The contractor presented a letter to us that says they need more time. Based on our opinion, it seems like they shouldn't need more time. Any questions?
Do you have any questions?
No questions, but I have an opinion.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
I mean, it does sound like they've created their own delay and now they're asking for us to excuse their delay as compared to paying the per day penalty that they have built into the contract. So I would say maybe compromise and get half of that penalty back from them if they really want that. Otherwise, hold them to the contract.
Right. And that's certainly an option. Now, well, the other thing to consider is what are our actual damages that to Cambridge City. And this, to me, is the pickle of the situation, is because they didn't work slowly throughout this and force us to incur more costs. They just didn't start. So Wessler's costs, I don't see being any different from originally planned. I do see Klein Peters' costs going up for those couple extra months because they have to administer whether work's taking place or not. But the actual, quantifiable dollar damage to the town isn't huge, is very big, and that, to me, makes this a more difficult decision to make. One way or the other, Wessler doesn't have an opinion. We just want to present all the information to you.
You don't make recommendations on it?
You want me to
Bob, I can
pause
tell you,
and pause?
I can tell you that they asked for 120 days, or sorry, they asked for 90, and it took them 120 to do the first step on the
You didn't
things
get
that they
started.
say are delayed. And the statement that the equipment is delayed is not, I believe, to be incorrect.
I understand your position about that we don't have real damages, but that's why you put a per diem in there for damages, because it's hard to distinguish what it is. So you agree up front what a per day penalty is.
Yep.
Well, here we are, and that's why we put it in there, so that they would do it timely. And now they're not doing it timely and want an extra 90 days because they probably put some other project ahead of us.
And what was the per day penalty?
$1,400.
1,400 a day.
Yep.
That is
Yeah.
It certainly does.
What's everybody think?
I mean, you also be cognizant that you may need cooling down the line, and so you want to work with them, but I don't think you just bend over backwards and just give them exactly what they want.
I think half of it would be fair.
Another option, and this is just a weird idea, but considering the fact that the damages are minimal, maybe to rectify things would be to get them to correct this letter, to tell us what the real delay is here, and maybe take a step from there. If that's something that we want to keep digging at this, because I think that could tell us more information that would be helpful to know.
Well, they're never going to say,
They're gonna
just
say
because we
that.
put you down lower on the priority list, I don't think they're going to say that. They'll come up with some other BS excuse.
Right.
My opinion.
Just another option. No, I don't disagree with you, Bob.
So you indicate you've been able to buy the same equipment, why didn't you sell it to them?
Well, I would have to mark it up to sell it to them.
Yeah.
And if I marked it up to them, then.
Then
That's
we're gonna
right,
be
yeah.
mad.
Okay, so what's everybody think?
I don't think the project needs any more delays. I mean, we already, I feel like we've had delays already. And
As a practical matter, it almost sounds like they have to have it done. They're not going to get it done.
They will not.
They will not get it done. So then it's just a matter of money.
Right.
And so that's where you figure out the 90 days and say, okay, if we didn't grant you this, and it's going to take you 90 extra days, this is how much you're going to owe us. We'll give you the 90 days and you pay us whatever half that is. I mean, 90 times 1,400, I mean, we're talking about over $100,000. So but I think we're giving them a break if we get it down into the $25,000 to $50,000 range. But I think if they want that 90 days, they're also going to be paying for it too.
Well, and the other thing is that this, just because we give them this 90 days.
You're right, I was
that
gonna say, will
doesn't
they hit the
necessarily
90
mean
days?
they're
Yeah.
done.
Will they hit the 90 days?
Right, you know, Wessler's detail on why do we need 90 days, why does Cooley need 90 days? Because Cooley said they need 90 days.
Yeah.
You know, we don't know if it's because of this concrete thing that'll get installed on that date and we can say, yes, we're comfortable. We just know they're not gonna be done on time. I agree with that, they won't be done on time. Do I feel 90 days is enough? I don't feel very warm and fuzzy about it.
Suggestions, do you want to do the half or
Say we hold them to the agreement.
the whole amount? Is that your motion?
Well, when you
The
say
90
that,
days,
are you
what I'm
saying
saying.
hold them, and don't grant them any delay, which is just gonna come back in and, or you're gonna say, we grant it, but you're gonna pay X amount because of the fine as far as how much later time it's taken? And you wanna try to collect that whole 90 days worth of delay?
So that would be a motion to assess liquidated damages.
Uh-huh.
Or, again, I'm trying to dance the fence here, right, because you guys want to keep happy with Cooley too. Maybe instead of a motion to assess liquidated damages, it would be to collect that fee, because I've often seen that rewritten, Bob, as construction engineering or time spent like that, to perhaps lessen the blow when that needs to be collected, if that's something we want to consider.
Well, then it's just a matter of semantics if you're saying it's a fee versus liquidated damages.
Right.
But I guess you can call it, if you figure out what 90 times 1,400, divide it by half and say, upon payment of this delay fee, we will grant you the 90 days. That might be my recommendation.
Okay.
Whatever, 90 times 1,400 divided by half.
Right.
And so
So $63,000.
Well, it's got to end somewhere, or it's going to move back again.
$63,000.
This is what's going to happen, so I mean, I'm okay with that, but you can't continue down this path.
Well, and then say anything paid on 90 will be hit at the full $1,400 per day.
So is it normal that they would have you speak for them instead of having a representative come and talk? Or?
It's pretty typical for them to give us the time extension request, and then depending on how significant it is, normally it's Wessler. I've seen it once or twice when a contractor's shown up, but it's not common.
It's not very often.
And I think I'd even add to that, with all due respect, to allow me to write the letter to them telling them that that's what your action is and why. I think it adds some more severity and seriousness to what you're thinking.
So is that how you want your motion to go, Jeff?
Yes.
Yep. Do I have a second on that?
So just for clarity, the motion is
45 days.
Well, you're granting them 90 days, but they're gonna pay you a delay fee of $63,000 in conjunction with granting that 90 days. And if they go beyond the 90 days, you're gonna charge them the full $1,400 per
And they'll
day.
give us detail about what their exact problem for the delay is.
I doubt they'll give us.
I doubt they do that, we can ask for that, but
Yeah.
they probably aren't gonna do that. I mean, if you get this reduced by $63,000, you're ahead of the game.
Okay. I'll second his motion.
All in favor? Aye.
Very good discussion, I appreciate that. Not light items to approach. Last thing I have are two forms that came in today that I need Steve to sign. These are compliance forms for Okra, for the 1A water main project. There's one that says our project is accessible for ADA, and another one that says we monitored it throughout the whole duration. Sherry, did you have a chance to print those out? Because I have them here if you didn't.
No.
Steve, these are just a document that we're closing out over.
Right. We got a copy too. We got a copy.
He just texted me.
I didn't ask him for a vote.
So we'll need a copy.
I'll get a copy,
Okay.
yeah, he missed one too.
Mike just texted you about.
Yes.
He's gonna get his vote in, isn't he?
You put a big smiley face. Okay, I'll get copies for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
If you read that, it says typed. I don't have my typewriter with me.
I will have my say.
This says typed name. I don't have a typewriter here, so can I print it?
Handwrite it.
Okay, my handwriting's so well, they
Go real slow,
probably
Steve.
won't be able to tell it's not typed.
Okay, good. Perfect facsimile, right?
Oh, yeah.
Are you done?
Is that all you have?
Yes, sir.
All right, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Next is Jason DeBoo.
Hello.
Hello.
So I'm from Co-Alliance Co-op, formerly Harvest Lane Co-op. As you guys know, we merged a few years ago. We have a few things throughout the county and that kind of thing, but I was approached by Jeff, and I think maybe at your request, you guys are looking for a fuel setup for the city or for the town. Okay. Kind of without a lot of details or having details from you guys, but on total gallons that you guys are using annually to be able to size tanks and things like that for you. We have no problem as a company providing you with the tanks, that kind of thing, at no lease charge or anything along those lines. We don't. I mean, as long as our fuel's what's going into it, then there's no charges for that. Now, if you're looking for a setup for like Jeff and I had talked about, and I know you had spoke with the guys up north, maybe in Albany, but like a card setup, whether it be a card or a key fob, so that we can track the vehicles and how much fuel they're getting and that type of thing. There are several different options for that, anywhere from roughly $2,000 all the way up to about $5,000, whether you want them to be internet, whether you want them to just, I mean, there's a lot of different options as far as that goes. So we can kind of get into the brass tacks of that once we kind of find out your volume and what you guys are thinking. But those boxes will hold up to 150 different units in terms of whether it be, you know, fire trucks, police cars, you know, maintenance vehicles, whatever the case may be. Again, we're more than willing to help out, partner up. Like I said, no cost on the tanks, pumps, etc. The only thing that we ask is that it's up to you to hook them up as far as your electricity goes. Now, as far as the computer box to do the, you know, key fobs and things of that nature, we'll take care of that, but we're not certified electricians, so, you know, we'll get everything out there, ran, set up. It's up to you to connect. And then as far as additional, like your concrete bollards that you want to put around the tanks, that would be up to you as well. Again, we'll provide the tanks. They are double wall tanks, so you don't have to have dikes or any kind of secondary containment because they're built in. So I guess as a first step, I wanted to let you know, I guess, as far as the partnership goes, we would absolutely provide the tanks for you, pumps and everything else. But sizing, that's a minor detail, again, depending on we get some information to find out how many gallons you guys are using, that kind of thing. But I know getting in and out of the stations maybe not be so the easiest or the most ideal thing. This would obviously make you a little bit more efficient as far as that goes, as well as save you a little bit versus what you're paying to the station.
So are we talking about above ground tanks?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
And where are we talking about putting these?
I think down on 2nd Street, about the city garage, maintenance garage down there. It's easy to get in and out, it's easy access to be on the side of the alley there, and it's not traveled, road's really not traveled.
So generally, what's the cost of these curbs and all that? Do you have any idea?
We don't do them, so I can't tell you. It's not super expensive. I mean, you could honestly go get a kit from Menards or Lowe's or whatever and pour concrete into a sleeve, and that's makes your dollars or whatever. I mean, honestly, it's super easy to do as far as that goes.
And then with the tanks, because we had this years ago, we had a tank out here, and we ran into an issue. I believe the town of the tank, is that right?
Yes.
And got rust in it, and it caused fuel pump problems with the police cars, and that's the reason we went away from it.
Yeah.
Because we used to do our own fuel
It
here.
was even filtered on the tank.
Yeah.
Still had issues with it.
Okay.
In the Crown Vics, I had all kinds of problems with fuel pumps.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay. I
so
would,
you guys maintain the tanks?
I would tell you yes. We'll absolutely service the tanks in terms of you got pump go bad, a hose gets ran over and it cracks or whatever the case may be. Again, those things are very rare to happen, but we'll absolutely maintain them as far as that goes. Usually they'll send somebody out once every couple of years if you call us and say, hey, tank's kind of looking dirty or whatever. We'll send a power washing crew out, or if they need to be painted, that kind of thing as well. So, and the things from, I don't know how many years ago it was, but fuel is a lot cleaner nowadays than what it used to be, and there's steps that we help you out take for, okay, it's winter time, we're going to switch you over to our winter blended diesel, that kind of thing that prevents the, oxidation of the fuel and gelling up of the diesel and that kind of thing. So
you would have two tanks, a diesel and a gasoline, or
what's that?
How many tanks would you actually have out there?
So depending on what you guys have, I would say 3, depending on your needs. I mean, I don't know if you guys have mowers and things like that are diesel, so you'd want dyed diesel. Obviously, you don't want to pay the taxes on that non-road stuff. So I would say a dyed diesel tank, an on-road diesel tank, and probably an 87 gas tank would be a recommendation. Again, without seeing all of your exact.
And so that's what you
needs.
need from us is kind of numbers right now.
Yeah, just that would be the start, and then we could say, okay, the thing about it is some of the new systems used to be back 5 years ago, you'd have to get a box for each setup, and what I mean by that is a computer box to where you're running your key fobs, whether you're getting 87, whether you're getting dyed diesel or road diesel. Now there's one that operates all the tanks. So you'll have one centrally located box out by the tanks. They'll go up, scan it, which tank, number 2, this is what I'm getting. And the tanks will all be clearly marked, dyed diesel, road diesel, 87, E10 gas, whatever the case may be. So.
And so then do you guys lock in a price like?
So you have options to do that. You can do what we do with most of, we deal with several entities like city entities such as yourself, City, Richmond, Wayne County Highway, different things like that. And we can do a few different options. One, you can do a annual contract. If we said you used 20,000 gallons total fuel a year, we can book out that and it's a fixed price and you know what it is. Right. It's great for budgeting. If you're trying to beat the market, that's not the ideal thing to do, because if you've locked in at $3 a gallon and it drops to $2 a gallon, you're still paying $3 a gallon.
Right.
But again, from a budgeting standpoint, and that's what we use it for, is so that hey, this is all I'm spending on fuel this year, period.
But if it goes to 4, you also still just pay 3.
Absolutely.
Right. See, that's what happened at the county. It was jumped up and we were still paying like $2.75 a gallon, so it worked out good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so they have that option. They also have a flex option, which allows you to only lock in a portion of your gallons. So again, say you use 20,000 a year, maybe we only lock in a fixed number on 10,000 of those and leave the other 10,000 to play the market, in terms of, okay, well, it's up, we're down right now, we'd rather play the cash market than to pull off our contract. So that's an option. And then the other, we'll do a fixed, it's not a fixed cost, but it's a fixed margin. So if we're selling you the fuel for 15 cents over cost, well, that'll always be 15 cents. Now the market will go up and go down, but you'll just continue to follow that same 15 cents as far as that goes. So there's a few different ways, and we can kind of talk about that, the details of that. That's not a problem whatsoever. But yeah, just depending on how the town looks at it in terms of, hey, would I rather know total what I'm spending for the year on fuel, or whether, we want to kind of take our chances and see what happens.
Okay. Would that give us like a monthly report of
yes,
which fob,
So based on which setup we do, you have the less costly version, or if you want to call it, say, the deluxe version. The deluxe is all ran by internet, and so what would need, you guys would run your electric out to it with a Cat5 cable, or however you did as far as your internet goes. But we could set that up to where every time it got ran, it sends it to a database, and then you guys go and you log in and you say, okay, I want to see from January 1st to January 30th all key fobs. It'll run it, tell you which each key fob did. If you want to select a specific one, hey, I only want to see these 3 key fobs because these are our 3 police cars. I want to see what they did. It'll break it down. The more basic system is similar, however, you have to physically go out and retrieve the information off the box. So, okay, once 150 transactions have stored in there, you'll go out with a master key fob, download it, basically on a flash drive, kind of like come back, plug it into your computer, download it, and then you'll have to go back out and clear it. So it's a little more back and forth, not as technologically advanced, I guess you'd say, but I mean, we're talking a difference of roughly, maybe $1,500 between the two. So, one's super easy, the other one's not as easy, but it's $1,500 cheaper.
So is it an actual pump with a meter and everything on it?
So it would be the standard tanks on each. You'd have a pump on each one of those, and the meter would be on the box. So basically, when they logged and said, "Okay, this scan my fob. I'm John Doe in unit number 123. I got 45 gallons." Or whatever the case is.
And so does somebody like Oscar Larson come and set them up, or?
We actually have an independent guy in-house that does it, but it's the same type of setup. Oscar Larson's,
Right.
Mid-Valley Supply, they all offer the same type of setups, yes.
Okay.
We actually bought the rights so that we could do it in-house and save everyone that we deal with from having to go pay 2 people to do it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Pay us, then pay them, or whatever.
But then the local weights and measures people would check it as well, probably.
Yes.
All right. So you need numbers from us,
And that's merely for tank sizing. And what I can do is I can get, I'll leave my business card here, but I can get you guys detailed information on the different options as far as the boxes are concerned, as well as, kind of what your total would look like as far as that. But again, from a tank, pump, standpoint, we're willing to provide those to you. That's no problem as far as that goes. So.
Okay. So do you guys track your fuel? So
Yeah.
Sherry does it all, or?
They have credit cards at Marathon.
Yeah, we
And
have
theirs
credit
is,
cards,
theirs
we
is
don't.
broke down. You can even,
So who will
You
do
know
that?
who
Will you be
gives-
able to give him the information, or?
on what they spend.
Yeah. Yeah, like how many gallons we use and everything like that.
Maybe.
That should
I mean,
be,
you should
ours
have-
should be pretty easy.
Theirs
Yeah.
is, theirs would be
If
easy
you give
to
me the
know.
bills, I'll sit down and do it. I don't have a problem.
Well, somehow I'll be able to get it for you.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
If you want to leave your card and everything.
Most definitely. And then, like I said, I'll put almost like a proposal together for you
Okay.
once we have all that and say, here's what we recommend size-wise,
Right.
here, and all that, and we can kind of go from there. So.
Okay.
We've talked about this at budget time for
Many
years.
times,
We've
yeah.
acted on it, so I
Many
think
times.
it's a
Yeah.
good idea to investigate it.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, it was pretty handy when we used to do that here, but then
Yeah.
that old tank got rusty and
Yeah.
we just started getting fuel at
Yeah.
that place, and then the fuel prices started going down. So,
Yeah.
anyway. Okay.
And like I said, with the contracting stuff, we can get together, once you guys decide and say we get everything set up, we can show you some different options, and we'll get, as much as we'd love to have a crystal ball, we don't, but we'll give you our best guess. We have a guy that follows the markets, that's a specific job, and we'll say, hey, for the next couple months, it's kind of in an uptrend. I wouldn't, so we're there we want to be a partner with you and help make good decisions for you as we have employees and facilities in the neighborhood.
And did you say you did county highway?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, we're gonna move on to unfinished business. Valve repair at 501 South Green Street. 2 quotes. Ask for a third from Ken.
Okay. Chris and Ryan spent 2.5 days to see if they could shut that down, turn on a bunch of different valves, which then I was getting calls, people having brown water and that, and they could not get nothing to shut down. They spent time poking, trying to find a valve down there. Robert Miller had a couple of his guys dig a trench from the building, coming out where it comes up inside, straight out, which you should find a valve there somewhere. If there's one, They dug a foot down, and not find no valve. I did call another gentleman, just was gonna get a price from him. Well, he could give me a price to put the valve in, but the thing is, like on the second option, the 14,400 option, there's two things are happening with that price. Since we can't shut it down, they gotta put a line stop in to shut the water off so they can put a valve in. The guy I talked to, he can't do that. He would still have to contract somebody like Cooley to come in and put the line stop in so they can cut the pipe out to put the valve in. So I did not get a price from him because it's like, why should I pay two different people to do a project that I can have one person do? And so, you know, like I said, we spent, like I said, probably a total of 3 to 4 days trying to see if we could shut that down, and could not get nothing shut down. I talked to Michael Stuckey, and years ago, there's a line that runs behind sort of that alley between Meg and Haler's houses. There's a line that ran down there that we were having issues with, and so he was having it shortened and having a hydrant moved back more towards Green Street. And he said back then he couldn't get it to shut down, and they had to put a valve in to be able to shut that line down, to be able to move all that. So for whatever reason, if it's being fed from somewhere that there's not a valve on, or it's just, you know, a valve's not working, that will shut it down, we can't get it shut down. So basically, the option is to be able to shut that down is, you know, would be having them put a line stop in, and then cutting out to put a regular gate valve in there.
And that was $14,000.
14,000.
Which, you know, from past experience, that's probably it's not, I know you guys think it's outrageous price, but when you look at the industry and Adam would price, that's not a bad price on them.
What size your pipe?
We're believing it's 6 inch.
It's pretty fair.
Any comments? And so what's the alternative if we do nothing right now?
Keep losing water.
And that's inside the building?
Inside the building, outside the building.
So it's leaking outside the building as well?
It does work its way out to these blow-off things that's on the fire system.
Well, any comments?
Doesn't sound like we had a lot of choice.
It doesn't sound like at this point.
Unless somebody's got a good idea.
It sounds like it has to be done. I'll make a motion. That's Cooley's bid, you say?
There's two. Which one are you wanting? One's 17,252, and then one's
I'll probably just go with
14,480.
the lesser of them.
Which is?
What's the difference?
It's putting the one is a new valve that's been developed. It's where they don't have to actually put a line stop in for that one. That one, they put a thing around the pipe, and then they got a thing they put on it, that then they cut the piece out, and they take another piece out, then they put the valve down inside it. And it's a valve that they, like, let's say, a lot of places are doing, like, let's say, if I had a major leak that we can't get a valve to shut down to get it slowed down to be able to get it fixed. It's a newer valve that they'll put in a lot of them because it's a valve that actually they can get 100% shutdown on. Or like if we have them put like an inserter valve in, those might only shut down 90%, so you still have water coming by. That's what that valve is. The other proposal, the 14,000, like it's where they'll put a thing on, they cut a hole in it, and they put basically like a balloon that they pump up to stop the water flow. And then past that, what this is gonna do is they'll cut out a section of pipe and actually put in a gate valve, which are the valves that we put in the water project, wherever they have to, which right now, those things will get 100% shut down.
So is your motion for the lesser amount?
Yeah, who was that with?
Cooley.
You want to take a look at it?
That'd be great.
Here,
Call
Judge, you want to
Cooley.
take a look at it? This is that last meeting.
Is there any benefit of including the same correspondence, your acceptance of that bid, while we're demanding $63,000 from the other?
Say this
to
Cooley
show
might-
that-
This Cooley might go up a little bit.
Now, the only thing, it would, on the one hand, show good faith on your part, but you still want to do business with them, and you're here, you're getting ready to accept another contract with them, but it might also invite them to counter and say, hey, look, instead of us paying this fine of $63,000, we'll do this other thing for free.
Sounds good to me.
Well, you don't get the
You don't get
63,
the
but
63,000.
there might be some negotiations to that anyway. But it's something to think pros and cons of
Goodwill, I guess.
inviting the two together.
Goodwill, I guess, I'd be okay with that.
Go ahead and vote on this motion, but then we can talk about whether you do want to correspond on both of them together.
Did you second that, Debbie?
Yes, I do.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
So you're saying just take the 14,000 off of what?
No,
they're
I'm not saying that right now. Still doing what I had suggested earlier, allowing me to write them about why we're only gonna give them the 90 days in conjunction with 63,000, but then put a PS, by the way, we have
I like that.
we have voted to do this, and some of your $63,000 could be applied to that other contract, so to show good faith, we still want to work with them.
Yeah, that's good.
Is that all right if I contact them with that?
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Well, I was asking Ken too.
Oh,
As soon as possible.
Right.
Because I know Robert would like to get that fixed as soon as possible.
Sure. Well, I'd be right, I mean, we need to notify them right away about the 90 days too, so I just thought putting it all in one might do.
If you'll really put PS on it. PS. Okay. Complaint at 114 North Plum Street and updates regarding letters that have been sent. 502 East Main, 411 and 415 West Front, 501 and 503 East Church, and 308 West Maple.
Okay. It's 14 North Plum.
It's not 114.
114.
We have
It's
114.
14 North Plum.
Okay, so it's not 114.
And they'd been, somebody that had been on my radar before I'd been by there, and they had, and I went back by again, and they had cleaned it up, and now it's stuff over, I mean, there's a demolition derby car in the yard, and there's other stuff, so that is another letter that I'll send them a letter to, that they need to clean things up on that one. Okay, on the 411 and 415 West Front, I had one up, talked to Bill today. When I was up there, I went around, made a list of things that I see needs to be done to those houses, so I can give her an official letter of unsafe building, and she'll have two options, either to tear them down, or this list of things that I've wrote up, she needs to take care of. And so that's something I'll be working on, getting that out to her.
I thought we already sent them a letter.
The initial letter. Just the initial letter saying that could be considered an unsafe house and why it is. And I did not get it back in the mail, so now it's actually a letter from me saying that
This is what they have to do.
this is what they have to do.
You're declaring it unsafe.
Yeah, that I'm declaring it an unsafe building.
Okay.
Before it was just that it could possibly fall as an unsafe building, but now it will be declaring it as an unsafe building. And you have, in the letter, you have two options, either to tear them down, or, like I said, I got a list of things when I walked around the buildings, you need to do this stuff.
So is there
And
going
what
to be?
time frame is that, Ken? after you send this letter?
Usually on this letter, they're given 30 days to start doing something.
To start.
So is there gonna be a hearing on this? I mean, with the,
Well, that's,
To tear down,
with
you
it,
have to give
yes,
them-
with it
there has to be a
being,
hearing
with
set.
me saying that, one of the situations is tearing it down, yes, there will have to be a public hearing, which I'll get the letter out, so then she can do it, we can do that at the next meeting.
yeah.
So if she starts in this 30 days to do the stuff that's list, then after 30 days, as long as she's attempting, is she to keep attempting? Or
Well, she has to keep work, it's not like, oh, I can fix the window and maybe, you know, and fix the siding and then stop, do nothing, she has to complete.
So this could go on for a year with this list of stuff.
I'll have to look at other ones, because like I said, I've never dealt with nothing like this.
Completion time can vary depending upon what remedial action is required. And so, but you need to put in not only that you need to start, and it says generally you require repairs to start within 30 days from the letter, and then determine how much completion time is necessary depending on the remedial action. You need to put both in, and I'm not sure I'd give them an either or. I mean, if you're talking about the remedial action is complete demolition, which then results in a mandatory hearing, I'd just leave it at that. I mean, if you start giving her an option of something else, then I think it's getting a little confusing maybe.
I just have, you know, when I look at the walls that, you know, structured from outside, those do not look like they're the house that is going to just fall in, you know, walls are going to start falling in. But the one thing she does need to do is get a new roof on each one to keep anything from coming in. Another thing is getting the siding fixed from the one that burned, where, you know, you still see the charred siding in that, and siding that was pulled off, that's laying on a pile. She needs to get that stuff fixed. There's the places where the groundhogs are getting in, need to be sealed up to keep the groundhog, you know. So, like I said, my thoughts were, you either take care of these things that I see that's wrong with the place, or tear them down.
Well, here, the only problem is if she does nothing, then at that hearing, assuming council would affirm the action, then the council can do their own self-help and take the required remedial action that was required of her. Well, if you give her an either or, then which is the town gonna do? Are they gonna tear it down? They're gonna do all those fixes. That's why I really think there ought to just be one remedial action initially. Maybe it can be all those different repairs that you wanted, and just that's what you're demanding to be done. And then again, a famous PS, you know, if you'd rather just tear it down, but the remedial action you're requiring are A, B, C, D, and E, so that then the town knows what they can do self-help wise if she does nothing.
Okay, now if I give her go with the option of fixing these things on the house, then will that require a public hearing?
Would not require the public hearing. The town could still have one on their own, but she has 10 days. If you don't require the demolition, then she has to ask for the hearing, and she has to ask for the hearing within 10 days after her receipt of the letter.
And so we usually do like we will give you 60 days to correct these problems. And then if not, we're gonna have a hearing. That's how we usually do it at the county.
The other thing is go the other direction and just flat off the top require it to be torn down. If she then appeals it at the hearing, council could modify that if she thinks there's a chance that it could be rehabilitated. But you out of the box just say, hey, tear down. And then that way, if she does nothing, we know that tear down can be what the self-help is.
I like that option.
It's just done that way.
This is all you're gonna do is prolong it if you go
It's,
that direction.
it's gonna keep saying they're making progress, that's it.
Like I said, you know, even with you, this is all new avenues that the town's never pursued on places. But
So you've
that's-
dealt with this person? I mean, you never...
Well, I sent letters before for
She's
their
But
got
no, you
letters
haven't.
the whole, every
I've
year that
never-
I've been here.
I've never seen her face to face. They live down, it's a Connorsville address. Somebody said they thought it was like down close to Everton and that.
It's time to tear them down, because
Yeah,
we've
it
been
is.
dealing with this for
Because
how
if she was
long?
gonna fix it,
17
she would
years.
have already
Yeah,
done it.
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a long time. And that one that was on fire, I think that was before I even started with working with the town. I don't
Yeah.
remember. But,
It's
you know,
time.
then I'll send her a letter that she needs to tear them down.
Everybody in agreement on that?
Yeah.
Good.
Okay. The 502 East Main, they are working on it. It looks better than what it had. The 308 West Maple, that was one of the trailer.
502, Ken, because I'm showing 501 and 502.
No, there is a 502.
That's 502 East Main.
502 East Main.
What'd you say about it?
They are working on getting things cleaned up.
I would disagree.
And that, from what it was when I first started dealing with them, they've made some progress.
That's been 3-4 months ago, and I haven't seen anything for 2 or 3 months.
But
I gotta disagree. I drove by there yesterday, and
because they did have some big piles of brush and lumber sitting outside there that are gone.
there's still brush back there, there's still trash back there. There's still a pile where they apparently brought it out to the side and burned it. And that's still sitting there. I'm sorry, but I don't think they're doing anything. And this is another one we've been dealing with forever.
Well, it's gonna be a constant thing all over town. And that, but as I said, it's.
Refresh my memory, which one is this?
It's-
Subway.
Not my
Yeah,
Subway,
up by
okay, I know which one
Subway.
it is, yeah.
Subway.
308 West Main is a trailer. That's on the list for the guys tomorrow to go over and mow and take care of the weeds over there. Then 503 East Church. They're the ones that had a bunch of trash that was in the alley. They did go and clean that up. And then the 501, I had talked to the landlord, and he was going. They got rid of the cars that was in by the garage. Now they got some mattresses leaning up there, and the landlord was going to talk to them about getting rid of them. And I talked to them, and they found that they're having some issues with them. Both of their phones are no longer in working order, so I will be sending them a letter telling them they need to get rid of those mattresses and any other trash that's out there.
Those are the ones you tagged?
Is this on the corner?
Yes.
Yeah. And then what about the one that has been there for a long time and you can't see the house anymore because of the trees?
Oh, that's on Robert.
Okay, Robert Miller bought that from the guy that I had sent letters to.
He did?
Yeah.
Yes, and they have.
You can see it now.
Yeah.
No, he's going down the
going
trees.
in and they're cutting things down, and he's going to get in there, he's going to go in there and assess it to see whether it's something that can be fixed or tore down.
Interesting.
And there's some other ones that I've came across that I've got to get some letters out to, and it's, life would be easy if people would just, like a conversation I had with another resident, if people would just keep their stuff picked up.
So after the letters don't do any good, we're supposed to be able to do
And
fines,
that's
correct?
with 502, I'll send her another letter and then she'll fine.
Thank you.
And giving her another, 14 days, 10 days, whatever. And if there's still no more progress being done, then I'll give her another letter with another fine.
Perfect.
Okay.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes. Thanks for
Yeah,
coming.
thanks. Bye. Bye.
Can I ask a question, Steve?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Have we ever talked about having a code enforcement officer? Because I mean, just based on what Ken is saying, that we have this all over town.
That's
I mean,
what Ken is.
Oh, okay. Well, it just sounds like a full-time job. It seems like there are a couple other towns that have code enforcement officers. So I'm just, that's why I asked. I wasn't saying, Ken, you're not doing code enforcement. You obviously are. I just didn't know if it was a bigger job, and I was just asking the questions.
Yeah, yeah. So next on the list is Norma Birch request to close North and South Fifth Streets October 14th for the antique show.
Right, next weekend for the antique show, just like we do for the spring. She said her letter says she'll have 20 feet in the center of the street, clear for emergency vehicles, and they will have employment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they just go alley to alley, so
Yeah.
same thing they do every year.
I would make a motion, we close North and South Foot October 14th for the antique show.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Fire station survey.
That was Jim wanted that on there.
So this came up at our last park committee meeting, working with Cecil from Rundle Orensberger, who, by the way, is donating his time to this project and probably saving the town $50,000 or more. However, in applying for the grant with Okra, they're looking at the survey of the ground, and what they've run into is found that the fire station is actually built in the right-of-way of the street, of Green Street, as well as about half the field back behind the fire station is in the right-of-way and not in platted property. It's probably been that way for a long time, but they're seeing that as an issue moving forward with the grant, because they want a description of the property that's going to be used for their grant. So Cecil went out and got some quotes to get that surveyed, and so that we could have those have that area platted and used, so we can move forward with the grant. In the meantime, I did send something off to Bob, because I know.
I've looked at that, and I has two things I have a hard time believing that the fire station was ever built on a right-of-way, and why the right-of-way for Green Street would ever be that wide.
That's
just,
That's what I was looking, when Sherry said, I brought it up to look at it. Why would that right-of-way be?
And if all they've done is looked at GIS, I think they really need to go back and do a title search to see when the town got that property, how they acquired that property, and because see, all of it's town property. I mean, it's all owned by the town, just a matter of whether it's, quote, part of the Green Street right away or part of just full fee ownership of it. And so that I have a hard time believing. I don't know how far back they went into the title records, or if they just, because GIS maps are not always accurate completely. And so you need to go back and look at the legal meets and bounds of how the town acquired that property, because I can't imagine why a street right away would be that wide. I mean, here, it's almost the entire fire station.
Well, I think that might be where the canal went through at one time.
Yeah, it is the canal.
Some of the old pictures show that's where they cut ice at for and took it to the ice house originally before that refrigeration.
So even if it is the town right away, couldn't we vacate the right away?
Well, yeah, you could, but I think regardless of that, they're probably gonna want one legal description for this whole plat, no matter what. And so I think you're not gonna be able to avoid having a survey of it. Then that, which takes me to my second point. To pay $10,000 for a survey seems outrageous as far as the one quote that you got on that. And I know it includes.
There's actually two quotes, and the other one came in exactly the same. Yeah, you didn't get the other one, but it did come in.
I know it talks about a topographical survey with that shows utilities and all that, which could be more. Do you know if these are both out, was the other one out of Indianapolis as well?
No, it was RMA. Their closest office is Muncie, I guess.
Nobody went to the local Beals office?
I don't think so.
Because I would not think that theirs would be that high. I think it's worth getting at least a quote for that, because, I mean, it's not like out on a farm field that you're having to go around, it's basically a rectangle.
I don't disagree.
And so.
So you think it should go to Beal?
Beals.
More.
Yeah.
That does
Beals
seem
more.
high. Yeah.
There used to be a guy down in Connersville.
There is.
Gary.
He's hard to get, he's hard.
Is he Gary's Boys or something like that?
Okay. I can have them follow up with them and see.
And I might even, as a favor, ask the title company to go back and see if they can find the origins of Cambridge acquiring that property too, just to see. But I don't think it's going to change the fact that you're going to need a survey for that pseudo rectangle.
Yeah, I think so.
Probably just hate to see the county have to spend $10,000.
Yeah,
You and me both.
Yeah. Seems so is that all you have, Drew?
yeah, I'll go back to Cecil and ask him to go to
Okay.
appeals and
Yeah.
we'll go from there.
Okay. Update on, is it Zoe Davis?
Zoe.
Zoe Davis property.
We got, she was asking at least putting some timbers. We got those and replaced the rotted ones.
Mhm.
So that's where we're at on that.
So is it corrected at then, or?
Right now,
So
yes.
far,
But
guess we haven't had any rain.
There needs to be some more investigating
Right.
and seeing, I don't understand why there was never some kind of an actual curb
Right,
in
it
there.
doesn't make any sense.
In that.
But we told her we would temporarily get that fixed.
Yes, and we did go get railroad ties and replace the ones that she was asking to be replaced that were rotted out.
What's the step to get a permanent solution though? Because I don't think we can keep putting.
Probably
ties.
initially getting an engineer to look at it, because you gotta see, okay, where, you put a curb up, where's that water going and what's there, will that,
And the issue's rainwater, right?
Yeah, because you might divert it to somebody else's property.
yeah, and that's like I said, it's something I can't tell what, okay, we put a curb in there, where's this water going and what's it gonna do? So, you're looking at having an engineer, something one person I was gonna talk to would be, about it was choice one, that if it's something that is possibly be put in a community crossings grant, because, we did do some drain work on Boundary with community crossings that one year.
That's good. That'd be nice.
So that's not anything that we could put in for next year at this point, right? It'd be a year out after that.
Yeah.
Because you got next year earmarked already.
Oh, yeah, it's already earmarked and the application's been, I haven't heard nothing yet, but the application is all in what's earmarked for
So
that.
that'd be a good solution, but we still need an engineer to look at it and figure out.
Yes, well, that's what we, choice
Yeah,
one
choice
is
one
the
is-
engineering firm that handles our community crossing.
We're still dealing with Ryan then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So you'll bring that to their attention.
Yes, when we start talking for the next one, I will talk with them about if that's a possible.
Okay,
Awesome.
good, thanks.
So moving on to new business, motion to accept $1,570 donation to the fire department from food purchases at Canal Days.
I'll make a motion, we accept the $1,570 to the fire department.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And next is motion to accept $600 donation to the police department from Blue Buffalo, yeah, for the canine project.
I'd move to accept that $600 donation from Blue Buffalo.
Second.
Did you have anything to say?
Yeah, so that, we're trying to partner with them to raise money for our canine, whatever. Mike spoke to you guys before about using our PR money that I have to add to that. And the plan is to get some little stuffed animal dogs with canine, obviously, say canine on it. Not sure on the logo how it'll say that on there yet, but to try to sell some of those, probably up to maybe 100 of them as a fundraiser. So I need permission, I guess, to do that.
Well, we had a motion and a second, so all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so,
Well, that's a different motion, isn't it?
yeah, that was the motion to accept the
Finish up
money,
that
yeah.
one.
And we can do that, right, Bob?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Cool.
Well, I'll make a motion that we let Richard buy the dogs to resell. The stuffed dogs.
Stuffed dogs.
Yes.
So be watching Facebook because when we get in, we'll put them for sure.
Second.
I know everybody wants one.
Jeff,
Jeff, second.
Jeff second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Awesome.
Next is reports from committees, boards, and commissions. Oh, I forgot one. Yeah, but we had one penciled in. And you make an appointment to the advisory board and the BZA. And so you had a name for somebody that,
Robert Miller.
And he's willing to do that then. So all I need to do, Bob, is just appoint them, because it's my appointment.
That's your appointment, so that doesn't need any council action.
Yep, so if he wants to do it, that's fine.
On both, he's gonna go on both as
Yeah.
as a Republican, okay. Awesome. You wanna let him know that?
Yep.
Cool.
So reports from committees, boards, and commissions. I don't think we have any of those. Staff reports, town marshal.
So I got a couple things. First off, we got everything submitted for the wreck car. We should get a check any day now. It'll be $15,760.99 is what we get paid for it. We had all the equipment removed from it. We got reimbursed for that, by the way, the cost of that. So I don't know what we want to do from here. If we, maybe look for buying another used car. I talked to you guys briefly about maybe using some of the ARPA funds to add to that. I don't know if that's something you're interested in to do or not.
Did you check that company up there?
I haven't researched it a whole lot yet because I kind of need a direction to go first, but I really think that to get one with the miles, low miles, we're probably gonna be somewhere in the neighborhood of 25,000.
What was the mileage on that car that was wrecked?
Yeah, I think it had 100.
So it was a 100 plus.
Yeah, 127, I believe.
So what's a new one roughly?
42 to 44,000.
What kind of mileage you looking for?
40,000, 50,000, somewhere in there. I don't know if that's something you guys be interested in. You can just
So
say
do you just want to research it and see what you can find, and then
that, or give me a pay X dollar amount. We can stay under that, just in case something pops up, because it may not last long. I may not have time to come back to the next month to get approval for it.
So what are you thinking about, 25,
In that neighborhood, yeah.
26?
Yeah, we've had $15,760 of that already, so we had about $10,000 to it.
Guess we have to replace it, huh?
Well, it would replace our oldest one now. This one will be replaced with the new car we just got, so we can rotate the other old one out. It's got 120-some thousand on it.
so is that what we do, the ARPA money?
Can we do it?
Can we do that? Yeah.
All right, cool.
That, I was just thinking, since we didn't use any for salary or anything like we originally
Stay
anticipated.
in that range.
Well, we were hoping that we wouldn't have to
Right.
do with it,
Yeah.
so it's not just, oh boy, now we get to.
No, I understand that. I'm just saying though, that's,
That'd be my motion, keeping that 25, 26 range.
With the use of
With the use of ARPA funds.
up to $10,000 a buck.
So I have a second on that?
Yeah, I'll second.
All in favor? Nor the Crown Vic for sale, but
yeah.
Two of them.
We only got one.
got rid of one.
I don't want it back.
Get two for one.
Yeah, 2 for 1 deal, 2 for 1 deal.
Talking about the wreck car, so we had all the equipment taken out of it, which included the canine kennel. It will not fit in our new car. I would like to have permission to donate that to the town of Fountain City, their police department. They're in need of one, and the vehicle that they have, it will fit in. It's not gonna do us any good, so.
I'll make a motion, we donate it to Fountain City.
All in favor?
Aye.
The only other thing I had, Krista was wanting to have permission to do a fundraiser. She wants to go to the NASRO, National Resource Officer training that they have every year. It won't be in Indianapolis next year, it's gonna be in Phoenix. There's some grant stuff out there. She's wanting permission to do a fundraiser to try to be able to go to that, so. There was a grant, I can't remember where it was from, that she was gonna apply to with council's permission.
Well, no, you've said two different things, a grant or fundraising, which.
Well, she's applying for a grant, applying for a grant to raise funds for that.
So you need permission for her to apply for the grant, basically.
Yeah, I mean, what is it?
I'll make a motion to apply for a grant.
A second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
That's all I have.
Okay.
On that purchase, you still need to try to get, I know when they pop up, try to get 2 quotes, so at least it's somewhat competitive quote. I know it's hard to find something exactly like that, but right now you've been authorized to look for it, but still have to try to get as fair price as you can.
Okay.
Fire chief.
We're starting to put the Christmas lights up. We've got probably a third of them up already. It's going well. I'd like permission to close or to have a parade, Halloween parade on the 31st. And we'll have the contest at the fire station as usual.
I'll make that motion that we have the parade Halloween night, right?
Yes, 31st.
Is that 5:30, right?
5:30, yeah.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is that all you have?
That's it.
All right. Public Works Superintendent.
First of all, I'd like to publicly thank Cambridge City Christian Church. A couple weeks ago when they had their Be the Church event where they go out into the community and do some community service, I supplied the paint and brushes, rollers and that, and they supplied the manpower and paint of the 2 buildings over in the park that needed a paint job.
And they cleaned up all those frisbee golf things too. They cleaned all those
Yeah,
up.
that's what's, yeah.
They did a lot of work around
Yeah.
town, yeah.
I was contacted by Lenny Payne, works for Dublin, and he was wanting to know if the old trash cans that we took from downtown, if we'd want to sell any of them. He's wanting to put some down by their shelter houses and that, because whenever somebody has something there, they roll those totes clear down there, and then they leave them sit there. And then they have to roll a tote full of trash, clear back up to where they set them to get when the trash gets picked up. And he is wanting to put some of those cans down around their shelter houses and that, to where then is all they have to do is go down there, pull the bag and put a new bag in, and then they can take them up and throw it in their rollers.
Mm-hmm.
How many do we have?
Oh, there's. How many did you guys buy of those other?
I don't remember.
There's probably at least 10 down.
Yeah, it's 10 or 12.
10 or
something
12.
like
Well, they
Where
were.
it's currently sitting in the Miller building, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So
they
didn't
were.
you say there were trash barrels in one of those brown buildings?
There's two 55-gallon drums.
Is there two still in
Still
there?
in there.
Just 2?
Because
Oh.
we'd like to use that after.
And I gotta find my one key that opens that.
I've got that.
Do you?
That's the same key that unlocks the gates in the park.
Because I know there were 2 locks. There's a padlock and then a lock for the doorknob.
I checked it Saturday, and there's just 2 drums.
That's what I was thinking.
Because we'd like the Christmas lights in there.
And if
we
if I don't get there tonight,
need space.
just take
Have
them.
them around them.
Just if there's couple, just pull them out sometime and take them down and send them at this Miller building.
Okay.
So what are you thinking on price for the?
Gosh, I don't know. I don't know what they would. I mean, they're 20-some years old.
I think we'll open the can, just get a price from what they would be willing to
What they
pay
would
for
pay.
them.
Tell them to make an offer on
Yeah,
it.
take them.
Okay. And let's see. The other thing I wanted to bring up was, I brought it up, it's been a while ago, and the guys have been on me about the air compressor in the Miller building. I had gotten and you guys wanted me to ask if I compared prices on that one with anything else. And the one that, like I said, and this is exactly like the same one that Michael had bought down at the water plant in that garage. Through Northern Equipment, it is $3,919. And that's what I initially brought, and you guys wanted me to check and so to see if anything else was. And I found one that it's not exactly the same at but it could get through TSC. But it's close to the same, and it's actually $3,949. So price-wise, you know, they're basically the same. And I'm just wanting the approval to go ahead and seek and purchase a new air compressor for the Miller building, because like I said, the guys, the shape that one's in, it don't hold air. So they gotta turn it on every time they wanna use it. And if they, you know, stop there they notice a low air tire with low air, well, it takes like 15-20 minutes for it to pump enough air to even be able to put anything in.
What are we doing with the one that was at the other building then? Is it still working?
Miller bill, or the
The sewer?
water plant.
Down the water,
Yeah.
that one's still down there in there, we use it down there.
Right.
And that. And this is the compressor that was in the Miller building when we bought it. That compressor may be 50 years old, who knows? It leaks, it don't hold air.
What all do you use it for?
At the Miller building?
Yeah.
Air tires, air equipment, the lift that we put in a couple years ago, it takes air. So.
But for years we've used one. For years. I'm assuming we inherited that with the building, or did we not?
Exactly, the compressor that's in the Miller is the one that was in there when Miller had it. And like I said, it's just wore out.
So do you need the one at the Miller, or at the water plant? Do you need that one there?
Yeah, because we use, we'll use a compressor at both places.
Don't they just sell those little cheap ones?
Well, I was gonna say,
somewhere?
just to blow up tires and stuff, can you get just a cheap one, or?
Well, trouble with those little cheap ones, don't pump up with enough air if you gotta put air in those big tires on the big trucks.
So I guess my question would be, is there still money in your budget to purchase this, or is it something we should put off to next year, to use next year?
Should be, because I've not purchased anything with MVH equipment.
How much was it again?
About 39, over 3,900.
There's money in MVH, yeah. Are you using all your paving money this year?
We've not got nothing yet from, I know we gotta see what we've gotta send back that didn't get used, and then I'll know for sure what I got left. I wanna see if I got enough money in that. I wanna try and got some feelers out, trying to find somebody that does parking lot marking.
Parking markings in Connersville. Don't
I've
they
not
do
found
that
nothing in
still?
Connersville.
That's who
Well, I've
does,
tried to-
and Mike always went through.
So I've got a call into All About Asphalt to see who they use for when they do something. Because I want to get outside here in front of the city building.
Yes, please.
Remark. I want to get Delaware
Leave
from
one line.
Lincoln to the bridge mark.
Yeah.
Then also the line that goes on Center Street out under the bridge going south on Boyd Road, that needs remarked.
They can paint that while they're doing the overpass.
Yeah.
So, has he got money to buy this air compressor?
Well, it just shows a total, it doesn't show like what's left in his equipment or that, but I mean, there's.
So what's everybody think on this air compressor?
Did we have quotes, or did you get quotes?
We had
3,900.
two.
I looked at two different places and found the compressor I want to get is through Northern Equipment. And I got on TSC to see if they have the exact same compressor or something similar. They got one similar, and they're both, like I said, a little over 3,900. And the brand that I'm looking at is a reputable brand, you know, an Ingersoll Rad, and they're a good compressor. It's not one that, you know, 3-4 years from now is gonna go kaput.
It's still on there.
Mhm.
So what's everybody paying? It's getting late.
Yeah.
I'm not against replacing equipment that's old equipment like that. I think it'd be beneficial if we had written quotes, but in this case,
Sherry, did you look under motor vehicle highway under account 441 and 361? I know through June, he had not even spent half, he hadn't spent any of the motor equipment, which could qualify for that under 441. And 361, he'd only spent 3,400 out of 10,000.
Okay, I just had just the grand total.
Oh,
I
you
don't
just-
have
you don't
all
have
the
those broken down.
appropriations yet, not with me.
Well, those might be two line items you could get it from 361 and 441.
Okay. 361 and 440. All right.
So you're making a motion?
Do we have to have it, I guess, right?
what do you think, Jeff?
I guess, I mean, it seems like we always got by with one, but if we have to have two, I guess, and it's,
No, but for years we didn't have a Miller building.
well, but we don't use the Miller building half the time.
They work on
Still,
equip-
we're
they
still
work-
down here half the time.
They work on equipment in there.
That's, I'm fine with it.
I'd make a motion to approve up to $4,000 for purchase of a compressor for the Miller building.
Second.
All in favor?
I,
Aye.
And that's all I have.
Okay, town attorney.
Nothing that we haven't already talked about.
Okay, Debbie?
no, nothing.
Sherry?
November 6th with Rumpke for the in-town customers only in Cambridge is the large trash pickup day.
What day was that again? I'm sorry.
November 6th.
What was the last day?
Yeah.
Is that all you have?
That's it.
Jim?
The only thing I had an email today regarding the READY grant and stakeholder meeting. That's Monday, October 30th in Muncie. I think you probably all got that, so I just wanted to bring it up and make sure you look at your email for that.
Is that it?
Yep.
Jeff?
That 5K, just because the one to go has changed.
Okay.
Obviously, the date's changed. It
Date's
was supposed to
changed,
be this Saturday.
Yeah.
Because of another challenge, it got moved to the 28th. So,
Yes.
just so you know,
When is it?
the 28th.
Same time.
Yeah. Everything else the same.
Okay.
Around
Great.
the same.
You put it on the board, you put the 28th, yeah.
Just let me know. Barricades and how many or whatever.
The county's bringing them.
Okay.
So, thanks.
Does anybody else have anything?
I'm still awake.
All right, good man.
Thanks for hanging on.
So I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we're out of here, Mike. Have a good time.
Bye, Mike.
Take it easy.
All right.